This is the lesson video for chapter 4, part 2. Here we look at the concatenate function, and we have some examples, so let's go to SQL Developer. So the concatenate function takes two strings and joins them together. It won't take more than two strings. So let's look at this first example, and it concatenates the sum of 1 plus 2.14 and then concatenates it to this string, and this is what we get here at the bottom. So it gets numeric values and it can join them together with string values. Okay, this next example use the keyword concatenate, and we're going to put together this string with the system date. Alright, so we get this here, we'll get today and then today's date. Okay, we have one more example. Here we're going to concatenate. We're going to use concatenate function within another concatenate. So here, since we only can do two at a time, we're going to concatenate the first name and then a space, and then the outer one we're going to concatenate. We're going to concatenate whatever we get here, which is first name with a space, and then we're going to concatenate it to last name. Alright, so we get first name and last name concatenated together. We add a space. So that's why we had to do two concatenate functions, one within the other one, because we have three things that we wanted to concatenate, and we give it the full name alias. Now we go to the length function, and we looked at this earlier. And here we're gonna concatenate the summation of 1 plus 2.14 and then approximates pi. We're gonna put those together. We're gonna concatenate them with the pi symbol, and we're gonna get the length. So the length of all that concatenation is 20. So all of this strings put together is 20. The length is 20. So now we're going to get the length of system date, and it's 9, right? 3 for February, 2 for the dashes, and 4 for the month and year. So this is the length function. We have another example. We're going to get the first name, and then we're going to get the length of first name. Alright, so Donald has 6 characters, Douglas has 7 characters, and so on and so on. So we get the length of the string, in this case first name. Now we go to the LPAD and RPAD functions. Here we're going to get the last name, and we're going to pad it with asterisks, and it's going to be the left pad, so they're going to be leading asterisks. So we picked 25 spaces because last name is 25 spaces. Let me see, you can do it shorter or however, it doesn't necessarily be the length of the, so last name is 25 spaces. So we run this, and we get leading asterisks for last name. So together with the last name and the asterisk, it should total 25 spaces. Okay, right below we have RPAT, which is trailing um, spaces. So here we get also the same thing, asterisk. We pick 25 spaces and we give it to last name. So in this case, in the output, the last name is shown first, and then the trailing asterisk. Now we go to the trim function. We have trim, we have trim trailing, trim leading, and trim both. And the trim removes spaces from both sides of the input string. When no direction of trimming is specified, then spaces are trimmed for both sides of the string. Then we have the trailing, removes all occurrences of trimming from the end of the strings if it is present. We have trim leading, removes all occurrences of trim string from the beginning of the strings. And then we have trim, removes from both sides. So let's look at our first example of trim. So here we're gonna get the last name, and then we're gonna trim the letter G, and it's trailing. So any G that's at the end of any last name is gonna be cut off. So we run it and we look for G's at the end. And here we had Greenberg, and if you see, if it was at the end, it was gonna be cut off. Let's look for another one. I'm sure there's others. Here we have Coughlin, and we remove the G. So if you, this is usually used for strings that have trailing spaces, empty spaces. Alright, our next example is leading, trim leading. So we're going to remove capital K from last name. So we see here we have king, and we got the K removed. The next last name also, we got the K removed. Now we look at the in-string function, and we have one example. So in SQL Developer, we're going to get the last name, and we're going to get the in-string. And what in-string does, it gets the position where the string that you put could be a single letter, or it can be a whole string. So we're going to try to look for the letters AN in last name. So we use the keyword string or string function, in-string function, and we're going to run it and see here Grant has the letters AN, and it starts on the third position. So we have G first, R A second, A and A, which is the third position. Let's see if we have another one. See, we have Dehan here, and it starts in the sixth position. So that's basically in string. And here we're looking for the AN characters, and we're looking for them in the last name. Now we go to the substring function, and the substring function pulls characters, or a set of characters, a small string, from string or column. So here we're going to go to the first name, and we're going to use the substring function or keyword, we're going to start at position 1, and we're going to get just one character. So what we want to do here is get the first character of each name. In other words, we're going to get the initials for employees. We're going to put a period. We're going to concatenate a period after that, and we're going to give it the name alias. I'm sorry, we're going to give it the alias initial, and then we're going to get the last name column. So substring pulls a string from an existing pulls a substring. So here we got the initial, and it's just the first letter of each first name, and then we got the last name. So basically this is the substring part. The rest is just adding the period, the alias, and getting the last name. Now we got to replace. And this is the part for the replace. And we're, for salary, for every 0, we're gonna replace it with 4 zeros. And we're gonna call it, we're gonna give it an alias of dream salary. So here have last name and then salary. Make it a bit bigger. Salary. And then 2600 has 2 zeros. So each 0 we replace it with 4 zeros. So here we get this big number here. Here it should be 8 zeros. And we do the same thing for all the salary values. Again, whenever you use functions, we don't change the actual data. So if we go here, salary hasn't changed. We can do a refresh. The values in the data, they don't change. What we've been doing up till now, it's displaying in different ways the information in the database, but we're not going to change. We're not changing it. Here we have another replace example, and here we're going to go to last name, and we're going to replace every E for X, and we're just going to give it an alias of alter ln for last name. So if I run it, you'll see here O'Connell has an E, so it's been changed to an X. Wayland has an E, been changed to an X. Right, that's our replace. So now we go to the numeric round function, and in this table we have the decimal precision for rounding, and this is in your book, and you can reference to it when you have a chance. So I have different, I think I included everything in the, yeah, from -3 to 3. So let's go ahead and try it in SQL Developer. So I run the first one, and it's gonna round. If we use 3, we use the keyword round, and then we use a value, numeric value. This could be a column also, like for example salary or commission percent. So we use 3, that means it'll round it to 3 decimal places. If we use a 2, it'll round it to 2 decimal places. Okay, if we have a 1, it's going to round it to 1 decimal place. If we get a 0, it's going to round it to the nearest dollar. I'm sorry, to the nearest whole number. If we have -1, it's going to round it to the nearest multiple of 10. Minus 2, it's going to round it to the nearest multiple of 100. And minus 3, it's going to round it to the nearest multiple of 1000. So make sure you're familiar with this. They're going to be throughout your quizzes and your homework assignments and your exams. Now we'll go to truncate, similar to round, but in this case, truncate chops off parts of your numeric value. So here, let's look at 3. So it only leaves 3 spaces. It doesn't round it off, it just chops it off. Let's see, 2. Just going to leave you 2 decimal places. Not going to round it off, it just chops off whatever's to the right. 1 just leaves 1 space for decimals. 0 chops off any decimal places. Minus 1 will round it off to the not the nearest multiple of 10, but just it'll just disregard this. Minus 2, it'll go to the lowest multiple 100, and minus 3 will go to the lowest multiple 1000. So this is your truncate function. Now we go to our mod function. This is for modulus, and this basically what it does, it gets the remainder of a division. So here 45 divided by 5 should be 9. It doesn't get any remainder, so this is going to give us a 0. 45 divided by 5 should be 9, but it should be a remainder of 1. And this one is going to give us a remainder of 2, 3, and 4, and so on and so on. And again, just because we're using dual here, you can also use like a regular column, like for example salary, and you divide it by a value and it'll give you the remainder. Here we have another mod example, and here we're getting salary, and then we're dividing salary by 10, and we're getting the modulus or the remainder of that division, and this is what we get. So everything's pretty much rounded off except this one here. So it gave us a remainder of 8. Now we come to date storage in the database. Dates are stored internally in a numeric format that supports the storage of century, year, month, and day details, as well as the time information such as hours, minutes, and seconds. These date attributes are available for every literal, column value, or expression that is of the date data type. So let's look at a regular query on a date value. So I'm getting the employee ID and hire date. So this is how it is displayed. So you can get more information if you format the output. But the basic output is the day of the month, the 3 letters for the month, and 2 digits for the year. Now we look at sysdate, and sysdate pulls the computer state. So today's February 20th, 2020, I'm sorry. And here we have another example. We get the employee ID, hire date, and sys date. You can use use subtraction to get the dates, the days that employee has up until now working for the company. Now we come to months between, and this gets the numeric value of months between two dates. So here we get months between March 29, 2008 and February 28, 2008. So we run this and we get 1.03 months between those two dates. I could round it off and get rid of some of this decimal places. Here we get another example, months between, and here we're getting the difference between today's date and the hire date. So we're trying to get longevity for employees. So we're trying to get how many months the employees have worked for us up until today. So we run it, and this is what we get, the difference between the hire date and today's date. Again, we could have used some rounding for this. Now we come to add the function add months, and here we're going to add 1 month to this date, and we should get something in February. Yeah, we got the 1st of February the same year. So we just added 1 month to this date. So now we have another example, and we're going to add 2.5 months to this date. Alright, so that's what we get. We get March 1st, 2018. I think we have one more example. Here we have a negative -3. So we're gonna add months to this date, see what we get. So I've subtracted 3 months, so we got a date in October of the previous year. This is the end of the lesson video for chapter 4, part 2. Thank you for watching.